Yes. South Got Something to Say podcast is live. We live. What a show we got for y'all today. South Got Something to Say podcast is live. What a show. Tell a friend to come on in. We live. Yes. Labor Day weekend is upon us. Let's get it. Let's go. We got to do a recap of the Queen City Classic. We got to do a recap. We got to talk about it. We're going to wait for some folks to get on up in here. Let's get it. Let's go. Yes. South Got Something to Say podcast is live. What a show we got for y'all today. Let's get it. Let's go. A lot of things we breaking down today. Yes. Boy, they hit us hard on Friday night. They hit us hard on Friday night. What a show we got for y'all today. We got to talk about it. We got to break it down. Yes. So let's go and get into the What's on Your Mind segment. The What's on Your Mind segment gonna be simple tonight. What's on my mind is, man, our 5-star, 4-star, 5-star athlete got a little dinged up Friday night. And what's really on my mind is, what type of future does this young man have? This young man is obviously the best player on the field whenever he's on the field. And speaking of that, I watched college football this weekend and I see how Selma is represented. Selma is represented well in college football. Shout out to Dakara Nelson, Deion Nelson, and Jeremiah Wright. All of us on the big stage played on TV this weekend. So shout out to each and every last one of them. We so proud, man. And we got athletes coming on both sides, from Selma High, South Side. Shout out, I want to give out to Dallas County. Dallas County High School, 2-0. That started with a new coach, Coach D. Watts on the ones and twos, man. Shout out to them young men that's working, that's grinding, and putting in the work and seeing the results. Just know that you got to keep up that same intensity all year long. So shout out to each and every last one of them. Shout out to our 5-star athlete, Derek Smith, man. We praying for you. Get well soon. I know you will. Your future is bright. And don't let one game define who you are, because you are who you are. There's a reason you are him. You are him. And we so proud of you, man, over here on the South Side. We literally so proud of you. And for my recap, man, once I get into my recap, I'm gonna acknowledge some things that was very, very evident in the game that needs to be stated And I want everybody to know that it's got nothing to do with the student athletes. The student athletes on both sides. Let me say this, and I want to preface my statement with this. I need y'all to understand me when I say this. The student athletes on both sides, even though it was a minor dust up, and it was very minor, it looked worse than what it was, because I guess you got to have 50 police in to stop a little pushing contest between players. And I understand what the police and the school administration was doing to cut this stuff down, but it was very minor, to say the least. But what I want to say is the student athletes performed well despite some ridiculous circumstances. The student athletes on both sides, on Selma High side and South side, performed very well despite some ridiculous, and when I say ridiculous, I need this to get out of there. I put out a Facebook post that I want the game film. I want the game film for one reason. How in the world do a game of that magnitude last almost 5 hours? How in the world do a high school football game, last 5 hours almost? It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it loud and proud. We got to do better than that. We got to do better than that as a people. We got to do better than that. You took up 5 hours of people's day on a game that should have lasted 2.5 at the most. You added 2 hours to a game. 2 hours. The game started on time at 7 o'clock. I was there at 7. And I was there when it ended. That's ridiculous, y'all. That's ridiculous. That is putting student athletes more at risk. That is putting an injury was piling up on both sides. The reason the game started to stretch out because injuries started to mount up, because we was getting break after break after break after break. After every play, we took a 3 to 5 minute break. After every play, we was taking a 3 to 5 minute break. The referees that they sent down here, whoever they may be, was the worst refereeing crew. And I'm not talking about Southside got cheated or they were cheating for Selma High. No, that ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about they could not control the game. That's how you get a 4 hour and 15 minute game. They could not control the game. They did not know what they was doing. They did not know what they was calling. They did not know when to tell the coach, hey, they wanted to throw a flag every play. Then they got to meet and decide, what are we throwing this flag for? Okay, what do we do? They miss-spotting the ball. They re-spotting the ball. It was the most ridiculous thing I ever saw in my life. Y'all had them babies putting themselves at risk 2 hours more than they had to. This was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Every play was challenged. Every play had a conversation. Every play. Obvious things was missed. Obvious. I'm telling you what I saw. And I'm not saying that Southside lost because the referee cheated, because that's not the case. What I'm saying is that fans and players had to endure 2 extra hours because the adults that was in control of the game could not control the game. And sometimes you got to be stern, sometimes you got to stand up, and sometimes you got to keep this party going. It was beyond ridiculous. It was beyond ridiculous. And that is a testament to the adults in the room, not the student athletes. The student athletes put it all out there. I watched student athletes on both sides play hard and go hard and represent. And the more they went, the more flags were thrown. The more plays were plays were argued, flag were argued. They moving referees. They doing everything besides letting these kids play. Shout out to Selma High players for persevering through it. Shout out to Southside players for persevering through it, getting through the game. Just getting through the game. Just getting through the game. Both sides deserve kudos. And when you let the temperatures keep boiling and boiling and boiling, then you get a amount of dust up. I'm talking about a dust up that happens in almost every football game on every level. And you get the whole SPD, that kind of shaft, the shaft of the county, everybody out on the field for a amount of dust up, which the referees, that little dust up, the referees should be able to control that. But the referees control nothing all night. Now, I ain't even got into the game yet. I just want to tell a lot of people who was wondering how a game that starts at 7 ends at 11:30. How, when I'm looking at my clock, it was 7:53 at the end of the first quarter. How do a 12-minute quarter turns into 53 minutes is beyond me. When they kicked off from halftime, it was 9:03. How do two 24-minute quarters at a 20-minute halftime turn into 2 hours and 3 minutes? That's the adults in the room, not that student athlete. That's the adults in the room. So for everybody who wonder why that game lasted so long, it was about 60 flags thrown. And I'm not saying nobody cheated, but about 55 of them flags were thrown on Southside. But I'm not saying they cheated. And I'm not saying Southside lost because they was cheated. I'm just giving you the facts. Southside had at least 3 50-yard plays or more called back. I have seen a lot of stuff that was questionable of their game. But one thing I would not sit on their podcast and say, I would not look people in the face and say Southside lost because they was cheating. I'm going to say Southside lost because one team persevered through the adversity better than the other team. One team got through the adversity better than the other team. And the other team stayed disciplined, kept their head down despite it all, and kept playing ball. Now, as I get to the details and what I saw, and y'all, I'm talking as a fan. I'm no expert in nothing. I'm talking as a fan of Southside High School watching the game. Alumni of Southside High School watching the game. Then we'll move on to something else. But I'm going to tell you this, what I saw. The players for Selma High School came into that game thinking and knowing they can win. The players from Southside came in that game thinking and knowing they will win, which led to a matchup. See, a lot of people keep putting up that score, 44-8, 44-8. Any football man, or anybody that was at the game, know that was not a 44-8 game. Anybody that was at that game, or anybody who got a semi-football man, who goes to the game, who goes live. I be hearing the people that going live, they be talking some good football. They know that was not a 44-8 game. So as I go through the rundown of what I saw, I just want y'all to understand, if you wasn't at the game, even though that score looked bad, that was not how the game went. It was a very, very, very competitive game. All the way up toward the end of the third quarter. Toward the end of the third quarter, that's when it got out of reach. It got out of hand. Because at that point, you got to remember, it's after 11 o'clock. One team is super hyped. One team is super down. And that's how you get an outcome like you got. Not making excuses for nobody. It's just reality. You talking about 4 hours. One team is super hyped, and one team just want to get out of here. So, first quarter, what my eyes saw, Selma High quarterback got the recognition of Warden Moon. The boy looks the field and he recognized when he got mismatches or no matches at all. Shout out to the quarterback for Selma High School, Maury Woods. Shout out to him. Shout out to Maury. Maury got the field awareness of Warden Moon. He examines the field. He finds his mismatches or no matches at all. And by him doing that resulted in 2 touchdowns. 2. But opening they opening drive, he spotted that, I don't know what the cornerback was supposed to be doing, but Marvin spotted that he wasn't doing what he should be doing. And I mean, he said hike and he added that thing out there. And once again, the receiver on that side, which is our player of the week, we'll get to that in a minute. He caught the ball, never missed it. 6-0. Sell. 6-0 sell. Southside came back in, throw the ball, touchdown, scored a two-point conversion. The score was 8-6 Southside. Going to the second quarter, we held 8-6 throughout the whole second quarter. Toward the end of the second quarter, once again, Maury Woods with the vision of Warden Moon, the field awareness of Warden Moon, seen the same thing he saw the last time. Nobody want to cover this receiver. I'm going to throw it to this receiver. 12-6 at the half. 12-6 at the half. It was 9:03 when the game resumed in the third quarter. It was 9:03 when the game resumed in the third quarter. And it was the score was 12-6. 2 times Maury Woods saw the field and reacted positively, and they scored. Shout out to the quarterback for Selma High. They maintained 12-6 majority of the third quarter. So when you look at 12-8 majority of the third quarter. So when you look at 44-8, when you look at 44-8, by this time, I'll stop 2 of our best players went down. Duke went down at the end, toward the end of the first quarter, and JJ went down. Number 4 went down early in the second. So 2 of our best players are out of there. No excuses. Injury happened. Got to play. Next man up. That's how football works. No excuses. Next man up. But like I said, the score maintained 12-8 to about midway, a little bit under midway in the third quarter when Maury caught the sideline. And it was really a toss-up between, matter of fact, I should do co-player of the week as I go through this thing, because Maury caught the sideline. Maury Woods caught the sideline and ran it in for a nice touchdown, which 3 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. I don't know. I might have messed this one up. But I know they don't mind because they teammates. But after that, that's when it became a stinker of a game. You got to remember, it's fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, the score was 20-8. 20-8. And then it just went downhill from there. Shout out to Selma High for overcoming the adversity and keep playing. So player of the week, man. It was a real nail biter, man. I mean, I literally thought about this long and hard, and I just happened to be at that game, so I couldn't just examine stats. Like a lot of these player of the week, I'm gonna look at the stats. If I'm not at the game, I'm gonna look at who had the best stats, and I'm gonna pick the player of the week. But the player of the week that I saw for week 1 in the black belt area, I got to go with, let's see. I got to go with Desmond Connor. And the reason I say that, and it was a very hard choice because I really, and truly wanted to pick Maury Woods. I really did. And I think he deserved it. And now that I sit here and do a recap of the game, I'm thinking I should have did co-players of the week. But what Desmond Connor did was answer the call. His quarterback, which was genius on his quarterback, come out there and he recognized that he had a mismatch or no match at all. I got to look at the game tape to see. But all I know is the boy was running wide open twice, I saw. And he finished the game with 3 receiving touchdowns. And he made his quarterback shot. And the reason I picked that, what if he dropped them 3 balls? But he was built and ready for the moment and seized the moment. So shout out to Desmond Connor. Now, with our player of the week, I don't want to do nothing out of line. So what I'm gonna do now, I really came up with this today. But I want to incentivize our player of the week, but I want to do it legally and where it was not called the student athlete any trouble. So I'm gonna get with a couple of the school administrations and talk about what is a certificate, a plaque, gift, a gift. I don't want to reward an athlete and then come back weeks later and the athlete or myself or the school is in trouble. So I'm gonna get some questions on what we can do. So shout out to Desmond Connor, our first South Got Something to Say player of the week. He had an excellent game, and I'm so proud of this young man. And like I said, we gonna do this week in and week out. We got some big games coming up. We still got Southside versus Dallas County coming, Southside versus Keith coming. Selma High got some real big regional matchups that we gonna keep our eye out on. We're gonna do those things. So shout out to everybody. And before we get into the last thing we're gonna talk about today, I got to make sure that I tell everybody have a wonderful and safe Labor Day weekend. Y'all be safe out there. And then we're gonna talk about Roll Tide. Roll Tide. And Auburn had a pretty decent game against the competition they had. Alabama had a pretty decent game against the competition they had. And we want y'all to know that South Got Something to Say is here for it all. We here for it all. And what I want everybody to understand is that when we doing these podcasts, I don't like on my Sunday fun days, we covering whatever we want to cover. And our itty bitties deserve to be highlighted. Their game deserve to be pumped up. if it ain't nobody but us pumping them up, the way we pumped up the Selma High Southside game, we doing games like that all week. We need the revenue coming into these schools. We need our players getting the exposure. And I seen with my own eyes because they looked me in my face and told me. They told me I told you so. So that's what we're trying to build here. Something here. We got a long way to go, but we gonna get there. We got a long way to go, but we gonna get there. Shout out to him. Shout out to him. And the last thing I'm gonna talk about before I get up out of here on this Labor Day weekend and finish cooking and meat. The last thing I'm gonna talk about is on Wednesday, our Wednesday episode. I'm gonna check the calendar and see what kind of big games we got going on. But it's some people that just starting to irritate me by sending me different things about my position on the presidential. And it's starting to irritate me a little bit. Like I don't do my own research, like I'm just following people. So I'm gonna have to at one episode very soon, and I think it's gonna be Wednesday. I got to present the research that I got. I got to present the research and how y'all are being lied to and fooled by our own people. When they tell you Kamala ain't never did that for black people, they're lying. When they tell you the Democratic Party never did that for people, they are lying. They are lying. They are lying. So on Wednesday, y'all tell everybody, and especially if you one of those ones, they keep talking about what the Democratic Party didn't do for black people, or what Kamala, or Joe Biden, or Barack Obama ain't did for black people. I want to see you Wednesday. I want to see you Wednesday. Yes, yes, yes. What a show. What a show. What a show. Yeah, man, just a quick Labor Day show to get our blood flowing, get everything going. I know a lot of people out there doing their thing in Labor Day weekend. I know a lot of people catch the recap. Man, y'all, please tune in. Please tune in, share the videos as y'all get to them. Man, we having an excellent time, man. Last week was crazy. We got big games coming up. We're going to be cutting, Thursday night football. Thursday night football coming. We got a lot going on, man. Y'all already know the motto. Each one. Love or be loved. To the moon.